Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to the Bhagavad Gita Sararth Varshini Tika by Vishwanath Thakur and the sub-commentary to Sararth Varshini, which is called as the Rasika Ranjan by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So up till now we have completed the 13th and the 14th chapter. Now we move to the 15th chapter. The 15th chapter is also one of the shortest chapters. Uh, there are two short chapters. One is the chapter 12, which has only 20 verses. And this is the second chapter, chapter 15, which is also having 20 verses. But in terms of depth of philosophy, it's quite profound, chapter 15. And this chapter is also famous even in the outside world, during the Purushottam Mass, they recite the Purushottam Yoga, chapter 15. And Prabhupada titles this as the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also titles this as the Purushottam Yoga. So, anyone can, who's been attending the sessions for so long, tell us what is the chapter link for chapter 15, from chapter 14 to chapter 15. What is the chapter link? Anyone would like to try? I have discussed that, especially in the 13th chapter, but I want to know your understanding and, so anyone would like to try? What is the chapter link? Tukaram Prabhuji, you would like to try? Haribol, are you there? Yes, Shri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll try, but I'm not sure. But
Uh,
14th chapter, we were talking about that how to transcend the three
no, no,
modes of.
no. First
No.
go to 13th chapter, chapter 13. Chapter 13 is actually, what is the Bija Vakya? Chapter 13, what is the Bija Vakya?
Mm.
13.22. Bhaungte Prakriten Jan Gunan. So that desire to enjoy is like the seed. And when you sow a seed, there are roots which come. So Prakritin Jan Gunan is the three modes. So the
Yeah,
three modes is dealt in what chapter?
14th chapter.
14. So
Yeah.
now what will be dealt in chapter 15?
How Krishna's the controller of even the three modes. He's transcended everything, but everything is under his control. Is it like that?
The entire tree.
Okay.
Urdham Moolam
The
Adashaka.
Madhashakam Ashwatam. Sarara.
So that is, of course, this is a banyan tree which their roots are growing upwards. This is a very mystical banyan tree. It's a metamorphical understanding. There is no actual such banyan tree. So, as we study now, it will become very clear that the roots go downwards and the roots also go upwards. Now, it starts from Brahmaloka, the root of the material existence, and comes down. So, in the 14th chapter end, Krishna spoke about transcending the three modes and attaining Brahman. So, after Brahmaloka, there is, you transcend the material world, there is the Brahma Jyoti, there is a Brahman feature, right? So, there is the Brahma Jyoti. And in fact, the whole material world is also referred sometimes as Brahman, if you know by now. Okay. So Krishna is going to go into the detail of this material world and how to cut this, our attachment to this material world, so that ultimately we can become liberated and attain Brahman. Okay. And in this chapter also, Krishna will bring out the glory of bhakti. We mentioned that although this hardcore 13 to 18 chapter is speaking the Gyan section, within the Gyan section, bhakti will be glorified, and how bhakti is superior to Gyan Yoga will be mentioned. So, verses 1 to 6, attaining liberation by detachment, the upside down banyan tree. So, this is the upside down banyan tree. So, there is no such upside down banyan tree which we can see, but it is perceived in one sense, the on a lake, if there is a banyan tree near the lake, so the reflection of the banyan tree in the lake, you can see that the banyan tree is upside down. So in one sense, the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So Vishwanath Chandra Thakur explains in his commentary the connection between chapter 14 and chapter 15. So we will directly go to this first section, attaining liberation by detachment, the upside down banyan tree. So I'll just take section by section, and then we will understand the whole overview also like that. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhvamulam Madh Shakam Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. The Lord said, they speak of this indestructible Ashwatha tree. So it is Avyaya. Avyaya means it is indestructible. In one sense, the material world, Prakriti, we have all studied among the 5 topics. Prakriti is also eternal. Jiva is eternal. The Lord is eternal. Prakriti is also eternal. Time is also the eternal function. It's only the karma. So Prakriti in the sense is eternal. It is manifest and it is unmanifest. But the ingredients of Prakriti are always eternally there. The pot is manifest sometimes, it is not manifest. So the material world, just like the jail, when the prisoner is inside the jail, he is, bound in the jail. But when the prisoner is released, he is out of the jail, but the jail continues to exist. So in that sense, Avyaya. And it's compared to what? Ashwata. Ashwatam Prahu, which has its roots upwards, Urdhva Mula, and branches downwards, other Shaka. So the Mool are up and the Shaka is down, and whose leaves are the Vedas. Now, interestingly, please try, because this is a very enigmatic description, the roots of this banyan tree, the roots are upwards and the branches are downwards. They're coming downwards like this because it's a very mystical tree, And the leaves of this banyan tree, the leaves are compared to Chandansi Yasya Pranani, especially the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, which promise Swarga. Who knows this tree, know the Vedas. Now, this is very interesting. Yas tam Veda sa Veda with. It's not that one who knows the leaves, the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, he knows the tree. No, one who knows this entire tree. Yas tam Veda sa Veda with. Veda with means one who knows the Vedas. So one who knows this entire tree, one who knows this tree, it is mentioned, knows the Vedas, not the one who knows the Chandansi. So this is already condemned in Bhagavad Gita 2.42. Yamimam pushpita vacha pravadyante avipashyata vedavada rata partha nanyat asti iti vadinu. Okay, Vishwanath Chandra Thakur. The 15th chapter states that detachment is the cause of cessation of birth. And the soul is an amsha of the Lord, and that Krishna is superior to matter and jiva. So here in the Purushottam Yoga, how Krishna is superior even to, Paramatma, it will be described. So Purusheshu Uttama Purushottama. Among all the Purushas, he is the Purusha Uttama, the best among the Purushas. So the Jiva is also Purusha, but there are categories. One is, the bound, who is called as Shara, and there is the Akshara, who is transcendental. And there is the Paramatma, yeah, who is also Uttama Purushtasanya, Paramatmi iti Udharita. And this Paramatma is, who is maintaining this universe, who enters into this universe. So these are referring to the three Purusha avatars who create the creation. So apart from this, there is Krishna who is Purusha Uttama. So this will be also established in one sense. The second of the last verses of the last chapter stated that by Bhakti Yoga, one attains the status of Brahman. So this was stated in Bhagavad Gita 14.26. It was stated, Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. The question may be asked, how does a person attain impersonal Brahman by bhakti yoga rendered to the Lord who possesses a human form? So how is it that he is performing, bhakti yogena sevate, but he is attaining Brahman? True, I am human in form, but I am also basis of the Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, the supreme shelter of Brahman. This statement, which functions as a sutra, forms the beginning of chapter 15. So this Brahmano hi pratishta aham, which Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita 14.27, this statement, this Brahman, it functions as a sutra and it forms the beginning of the chapter 15. So chapter 15, this entire tree, which is also Brahman, and beyond that is also the Brahman, right? So like that, the entire tree has been described. You said that the devotee is surpassing the gunas, sa gunan samitaitan, attain the status of Brahman. What is this material world made of gunas? From where did it begin? Who is that Jiva who surpasses samsara by devotion to you? You also speak of the Jiva being qualified for Brahman. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. What is that Brahman? So Brahman, what is that Brahman? Now, Arjuna has all these questions and Krishna, without Arjuna asking the question, Krishna is describing this in this chapter. And who are you? The basis of Brahman. Because in the last verse, he said, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. But who are you, Baba, now? Anticipating these questions, the Lord now speaks. First, with the use of the metaphor, the material world made of gunas is compared to an Ashwatha tree. So there is a metaphor used comparing the world, which is made of three modes, compared to an Ashwatha tree. Above all planets in Satyalka lives four-headed Brahma, who is the one root of the tree of the material world and who is composed of Mahatattva, the first sprout from Prakriti, Urdhva Moola. So Satyaloka, where Brahma resides, he is the one root of this material world and his body is made of Mahatattva. And Mahatattva is what? The first element which comes out of Prakriti. So Urdhva Moola. The branches of this tree are below. So Urdhva Moola are the Shaka. Shaka are below, composed of Devtas who live in the Devaloka, that is Swarga, Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Asuras, Rakshasas. So the Gandharvas, Kinnaras live in the Bhuvar Loka. And then the Rakshasas, Pretas, Bhutas who live in the lower planetary systems. And then the humans, cows, horses, they all live in the Bhumandala, at the bottom in the realms of Swaha, Bhuva, and Bhuloka. So all these also reside. In fact, the Pretas and the Rakshasas and the Bhutas also reside even in this Bhuvar. Of course, the Asuras live in the lower subterranean planets. This Ashwatha tree is the best tree because it lets one fulfill one's goals of Artha, Dharma, Kama, and Moksha. This Ashwatha tree fulfills Artha, Dharma, Kama, Moksha. So interesting, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, we have the sequence of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. But he always mentions Artha, Dharma, Kama, and Moksha. So Prabhupada also gives this explanation that why one performs Dharma, it is because of Artha. So because Artha motivates one from dharma for Dharma, so that's why he takes first Artha like that. But according to the viewpoint of Bhakti, Ashva means that which is not, that which will not last till tomorrow. Shwa, Shwa means, tomorrow. Parashwa means, day after tomorrow. So Ashwa means this. This is the meaning also. Ashwatam Ashwa, not tomorrow. It doesn't last till tomorrow. Ashwata therefore means that which is bound to perish. For the non-devotees, however, it appears to be indestructible. It continues to exist as long as, So, as long as one is attached to sense gratification, and the highest sense gratification is sex life, so one has to continue to exist in the material world. For them, there's no question of coming out of the material world. So that is why the material world is indestructible in one sense. So Prabhupada gave sometimes, on one time, a very heavy lecture on, the shackles of sex life. And then, somebody came and asked, what if, everyone inspired by your lectures, they take up to spiritual life and, nobody's attracted to sex and they all go back to the spiritual world. What will happen to this world? He's more worried. What will happen? So Prabhupada very sarcastically gave an answer. No, there will be still fools like you who will be attached to enjoyment. So this world will continue. Don't worry. No, it's never going to happen like that, at any point. So like that, Ashwatha means, you know, for non-devotees, it is going to be this. Chandamsi refers to Vedas which expound karma in such verses as follows. So Chandamsi is referring to, I mentioned the Karma Kanda. Bhavayam Shwetam Alabhayate Bhumikam, desiring wealth and power. So desiring Artha, one should perform dharma. One should sacrifice a white horse in the northwest, Taittiriya Samhita. And then Aindram Ekadashaka Phalam Nirvapet Prajakamaha. Desiring offspring. That is again Artha or Kama. One should offer 11 oblations in the east. Baudayana, Sautra, Sutras. So these are all Karmakanda scriptures where, we perform sacrifices so that we can attain our goals, material goals. Because they expand the bondage of the material world, they are called as leaves, Parnani. The leaves are very beautiful, na? And that's why these leaves, keep on expanding our bondage. We want to eat the fruits of this tree in the form of sweet and bitter fruits. With these leaves, the tree becomes attractive. Parnani means it becomes attractive. You can see that, just think, you also just visualize, a tree is there, it has branches, it has twigs, but no leaves. Does it look beautiful? No, it doesn't look beautiful. Oh, Krishna, I removed all this. Why did I do this? The more I said no, and it went away. Okay, let us see. Later on, I'll see that. Parnani. With these leaves, the tree becomes attractive. He who knows this tree is the knower of Vedas. Yastvam Veda Savedavit. It's very important. Kata Velli Shruti says, Urda Mula Vak Shakya Esho Ashwata Sanatana. The eternal Ashwata tree has its roots is upwards and branches downwards. Katha Upanishad. So we can find, because Gita is a Gita Upanishads, It is the essence of all Upanishads. You will find similar verses also in other Upanishads. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur on this. Oh Arjuna, if you think that it is better to follow the statements of the Vedas and thus take shelter of material life, then listen. This material world, which is generated by karma, fruitive acts, is a specific type of Ashwatha tree. For those who take shelter of karma, this tree is imperishable, avya, and its roots spread upwards. The statements of Vedas that establish fruitive action are its leaves, and its branches spread downwards. This means that this tree gives the results of the living entity's actions through me, the supreme absolute truth. Those who know the temporary nature of this tree indeed know its reality. Okay, text 2. Adashchordvam प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणः प्रवृद्धा विषयप्रबाला अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्तितानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. The branches, tasya shaka, nourished by the gunas, guna pravriddha. So what nourishes the branches, and the branches start spreading in all directions, and maybe it starts spreading upwards, or it starts producing spreading downwards. If you do sinful activities, then the branches will go downwards. If you do pious activities, then you can attain higher lokas like Swarga Loka, and it can spread in all directions. Vishaya Prabhala, with sense objects for twigs. So the twigs are compared to Vishaya Prabhala. Spreads up and down. Adashcham Urdvam Prasutra. So in the previous verse, Arjuna is puzzled now. You said the roots are up, the branches are down. Now you're saying the branches are also going up and the branches are also going down. And then Adascha Mulani, the secondary roots, spread out everywhere in the world of men. Manushya Loke Anusantitani, and are causes of continued action. Karmani Bandini Manushya Loke. So this is one point here we should remember, that the laws of karma are mainly operating in Bharatvarsha. And Bharatvarsha refers to the 9 divisions. There are 9 khandas, divisions. And one is what? Bharata. And that was called as Bharat Khanda. Bharat Khanda it is called. Or this is the Earth planet. So this Earth planet is also known in the Vedas by different names. It is known as Sudarshana Dweep or Kumarika Deep. There are many other names also. So the Bhumandal is flat, but this Bharat Khanda is like a bale fruit, like a round globe. It's one of the last divisions, in the Bharat Varsha. This is one of the 9 divisions are there in this. So the laws of karma are operating in these 9 divisions, and in the other, Ilavat Varsha, Kimpurush Varsha, and all these Ketumala Varsha, these other 7, 6, because there are 7 divisions. So in that, sorry, there are 9 again there. There are 7, different oceans. There are 9 again. So in that, they are all Bhauma Swarga. So there, the laws of karma don't operate because they are all heavenly abodes. They only you can enjoy the pious activities, and then, you come down to Earth planet like that, or Bharat Varsha. The branches of this tree spread down, other, and in the form of animals and others, and upwards in the form of birth of devtas and other related beings. So branches can go down in the form of lower species, or branches can go up in the form of higher species. These branches increase and increase by the watering process in the form of actions of the 3 gunas. Guna pravriddha. So the more you do karma, the more your continuance of material existence in this world continues. The small twigs on the branches are the sense objects such as sound, Vishaya Prabhala. So just like, the twigs, whenever there is sunlight, they, grow in that direction because they are getting nourishment. So more the senses you give sense objects, so the branches and twigs start, spreading like that. So the more you enjoy, the more is your tenure in this material existence. Moreover, it can be inferred that at the base of the tree, unknown to all people, is some great treasure. That is, the bliss of Brahman, and then at a higher level, it is, prema bhakti. There are external roots from the branches of the Ashwath tree, meaning in this case, a banyan tree. There's a note: the Ashwatha tree does not have these secondary roots from the branches. But here in the description of the metaphor, it is there, which are dependent for support on both the main root and the external roots. Some deeper understanding of the metaphor is there. These secondary roots, the cause of continued action, spread out everywhere, anusantitani, below Brahmalok, other in the planet of human beings. So this is how the secondary roots spread everywhere, and everyone is bound by karma in this world, action. Karmanu bandini means that after enjoying the results of one actions in one life, those actions become stimulus for actions in other human birth. Somebody is a devata and he comes down to the earth planet. So whatever pious actions he has done, there is some karma left, and with that karma he comes and again continues to perform karma here. Karmani bandini manushya loke. Vishwanath Chakata further. Moreover, the branches of the tree, material bodies, are spread down and up. They spread downwards by jivas committing sinful acts and being born in the bodies of men and animals, and they spread upwards by jivas performing pious acts and being born as devatas and gandharvas. By the action of the three gods, like sprinkling water, the branches, bodies take a gross form. The trees, the tree has shoots or buds, pravala, in the form of sense objects, Vishaya Pravala, such as sound and touch. Many branches on this tree take support of the mode of ignorance and spread downwards. Many branches are nourished by the mode of passion and are situated in the middle of the tree, spread outward. And many branches are supported by the mode of goodness and spread upwards. So like that, all these three planetary systems are there. The three divisions: goodness is above Swargaloka till Satyaloka, and Bhuvar and Swarga are, in the mode of passion, and the lower Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, and Patal, they're in the mode of ignorance, like that. Material sense pleasures are the shoots of these branches. So there are these material sense, these are like the shoots. The external matted roots of this tree, like that of the banyan tree, search for the fruit of action and spread downwards. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on this. Okay, text 3 and 4. Arjuna is really amazed, hearing this enigmatic description of the, Ashwatha tree. The roots are going up, the roots are going down, he's not able to figure out. He's completely lost. And I don't know whether you have seen, but banyan trees can be huge and huge. In the place where I stay in Belgaum, close to Belgaum, 20-30 kilometers, there's a huge banyan tree. And one time we had a 1 day trip, and 500 devotees were able to take shelter of that banyan tree, and the class was below that tree. So wide it was. And the devotee who's got a farm, he told me, actually, this is not the original tree. He said, the original tree, somehow it was burnt, and the fire was burning for 1 year completely. And now the remnants is this, you can see. So sometimes you can get lost in a huge banyan tree, and there are everywhere. The roots are coming down. From down, the roots are going up. You cannot find out where is, the real form of this tree. So that's why Krishna says, Narupamaseva tatopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta ashwatamena suviruda mula asanga shastrena dridena chitva tatah padam tat parimargita gitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadde yata pravritti prasuta purani. The real form of this tree, Asya Rupam, its end, Anta, its beginning, Adi, and its shelter, Sampratishta, cannot be perceived in this world. Na iha upalabhyate. How you can see it, Such vast. In a material banyan tree, such a huge manifestation, which can spread in few acres sometimes, you cannot trace it. This whole material world, how can you trace where is the beginning, where is the end, and where is its shelter? Brahmaji, when he was born, from the lotus, he started coming down the lotus to find out the root, but he could not figure out, cannot be perceived in this world. Cutting down this tree, Chitva Yenam Ashwatam, which has roots sprouting everywhere, Suviroda Mulam. How? Using the axe of detachment. Dridena Asanga Shastrena, a person should shout out, reach out the treasure. Tata Padam Tad Parimargitam. So Tad Padam means the Brahman platform, you can see here. Attaining which he does not return again. Yasmin Gata na Nivartanti Bhuya. He should seek refuge in that original person. Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadde. So after that, there is a other side, the spiritual tree, the original tree, who is the cause of the spiritual world, and there is spiritual variety, that is the Supreme Person, from whom the ancient actions of samsara have originated. Yata pravritti prasuta purani. Okay, Vishwanath Chakatak. Moreover, the real form of the tree cannot be perceived in the world of men. This is because of the great variety of opinions, such as the world is real, the world is false, the world is eternal. One cannot understand its end, na anta, and because it seems unlimited, one cannot understand its beginning as well. Because it seems to have no beginning, one cannot understand its shelter, some pratishta or support. One cannot understand what it is because of lack of real knowledge. In any case, knowing that detachment is a weapon to cut down the tree, which is the only cause of suffering of all jivas, one should cut down the tree with that detachment and should look for the treasure situated at the base of the root. The word asanga here means detachment or complete renunciation. Having cut the tree down with the axe, shastrena, of complete detachments, separating it from oneself, one should then search parimargitavyam for the object, tatpadam, Brahman, the great treasure existing at its root. So this is the Brahman I showed in the diagram also. What type of thing is that? One should look for that object which having attained yasmin gata, one does not retain. He then explains the method of searching. What is the method? I worship Prapadde, that original person from whom the long-standing Purani actions of samsara pravritti has spread out. One should search by the process of bhakti. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The real nature of the aforementioned tree of material existence is unperceivable in this world. It is not perceivable. Some say it is true, while others say it is false. Still others say it is immeasurable, both endless and beginningless, and eternal beyond time. And it has no shelter. What it supports, what it is, it cannot be ascertained without sufficient knowledge of philosophy, tattva. Regardless of which one may be the truth, one should understand that the only source of the jiva's deliverance from unhappiness is detachment. Asanga shastrena dridai muchatva. Detachment is a sharp axe that cut down this tree. Knowing this, one should strive to chop down this deeply rooted tree of material existence and search out the great jewel situated at the root of the tree. So, for us, practically, detachment means to perform actions for fulfilling material desires. This is very deep rooted and strong. So the jnanis and the yogis stop actions, which is artificial, but the devotees do actions for Krishna's pleasure, and naturally they become detached from material actions. So that is the process for us. Therefore, it is said Ashwata tree, banyan tree. Here, the word Asanga indicates complete renunciation. After cutting the tree with the axe of renunciation, one should separate the tree from the root and search for the great jewel named Brahma. Brahma again is masculine here. What is that root like? The answer to this question is that having attained him, one never takes birth again. How should one search for him? One should search for him with devotion and then take shelter of that original person from whom this most ancient material existence emanates and expands. Tameva prapadyante. One should engage in his bhajan or service. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is directly indicating bhakti here. Seeking for him with devotion is the prime duty. Now, Krishna speaks about how, one, what does Vishnu, performing bhakti, what qualities do the people attain so that they can attain that goal. So, what are the qualities of one who can perform devotion and attain? So, in the Bhagavad Gita, uh, where is my pen? Okay, here it is. 7.14 Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Prapadyante Mameva Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite was mentioned. So, what are the qualities of a person who has surrendered? Bhagavad Gita 15.6 or 15.5, this is, I think. I would like to keep now. That mistake I should not do. 15.5 it is. So 15.5, too big. So in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Devesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya Mameva Prapadyante was mentioned. So now in this verse 15.5, what are the qualities of a devotee who has surrendered? So here you can see in the previous verse it was mentioned Tam eva chadyam purusham prapadye. One should surrender from whom this whole material existence has come. Right? So now what are the qualities? Those who are free from the delusion of pride, nirmana moha, that means they have humility, who are devoid of attachment, jita sanga dosha, who are absorbed in reflecting on the Paramatma, adhyatma nitya, who have renounced material desire, vinivritta kama. Kama can refer also to lust, and kama can refer to desire generically. And nivritta means, one who is renounced. But Vishesh Rupena Nivritta, completely renounced, who are free from dualities, Dwander Vimukta, of happiness and distress, Sukha Dukkha Sanger, and who are without bewilderment, Amuda, attain that indestructible goal. Tad Avyam Padam Gachanti. So, in one sense, we can connect like this, that if you want to see whether we are surrendered, we have to see whether we are free from nirmana moha, jita sanga dosha, adhyatma nitya, vinivritta kame, and dwander vimukta sukha dukkha sangya. So these are the five things. Okay, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. Performing bhakti, what qualities do the people attain so that they can attain the goal? This verse explains. Adhyatma nitya means those who make a rule of constantly considering about Adhyamatma. Those who are absorbed in reflecting on Paramatma. So this is referring to Gyanis. For the devotees, it will mean those who are always reflecting on the Bhakti literatures, on meditating on Bhagwan. Okay, now after speaking this, how this tree causes, if one doesn't liberate, how it will otherwise cause bondage and transmigration, one body to another body. So the whole process of transmigration will be dealt here. So now, any questions you have up till now, which we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Who is this? Who has, on the Samsung, there's some Samsung SMA35. Who is it? You can type your name. What's your name? Okay, any questions you have? Any clarifications up till now? These 5 verses which we have discussed. Any questions? Any clarifications? No. You are able to understand the Ashwatha Vriksha clearly. Hmm? Okay, so then we will partly take up the second section. We'll not be able to complete the sections. Few verses we will take up. Okay. I hope I'm sharing the screen. No, I'm not sharing. So if one doesn't get liberated, otherwise there is what? Bondage and transmigration. So now, so he has to attain the Lord. So the Lord explains his abode. Only 2 verses in the Bhagavad Gita hint is given. More it is spoken in the Bhagavatam. The abode of the Lord, Vaikuntha, is described in many, many chapters in many, many places in the Bhagavatam. Of course, in chapter 11 and 12, especially Dwarka is his abode only. And then in the second canto, Brahma visits, has darshan of Mahavaikuntha. And then the 4 Kumaras visit Mahavaikuntha. Vrindavan is the spiritual abode like that. But here, just a hint is spoken in this verse. And there is 18.21. न तद्भासयते सूर्य न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. The sun, moon, and fire, Surya, Shashanka, Pavaka, do not illuminate this supreme light of mine. Na tad mama paramam dhamam bhasyate. Having attained this light, one does not return. Yad gatva na nivartante. So having attained my abode also it is, but it can refer to Brahma Jyoti also. So interesting, one of the acharyas gives this understanding, na tad bhasate surya, there is no sun, means it is not, the spiritual abode is not visible to the eye. Na shashanka, no moon, not conceivable by the mind. And fire refers to, the Vak Shakti. There is sometimes we say he gave a very fiery speech. There has to be Agni in the vocal cords. So it is not describable by speech. But why include electricity? Prabhupada has included electricity because we are all familiar with electricity nowadays. So translation has to be a balance between precision and relevance. So Prabhupada, in his translation, if you see Bhagavad Gita 15.6, the supreme abode of mind is not limited to sun, moon, nor fire, or electricity, Prabhupada says. Although the verse is not speaking, because it is only speaking of sun, moon, and fire. Fire, comma, electricity, Prabhupada writes, because we are all familiar with electricity. So there is relevance and precision. So precisely if you translate, there is no electricity, but relevance. We are familiar with electricity. Oh, there is no electricity required there. Maybe that should be our inspiration to go back because we have to pay so much electricity bill. What are the qualities of that object which is attained? The word sun, moon, and fire do not light it means it is self-revealing, self-dependent, self-sufficient, and devoid of miseries such as heat and cold caused by the sun, moon, and fire. Tad dhama parama mama means that light, dhama, which is non-material beyond the material senses, paramam, which illuminates or reveals everything else, and which belongs to me, mama. Note, dham can mean light, place, and form. The Harivam says, Tat param paramam brahma sarvam vibhajyate jagat mameva tad ghanam tejo gyatum arhasi bharata. That supreme Brahman lights up the whole universe. So it's speaking about, continuation of the discussion from 14.26 to 27. Who is that Brahman? What is this Brahman, which is beyond the material world? That is only being spoken. But Prabhupada in his commentary directly refers to Krishna because that is also another understanding. You should know that this intense light belongs to me. The Kanti, it is the Kanti of the Lord. That's what further from Hari Vamsha it becomes clear that this Brahman, that light, is actually the effulgence of the bodily rays of the Lord. So another Shruti from the Katha Upanishads, Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam neme vidyut bhati kutoyam agni tam eva bantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasha sarvam idam vibhati. The sun does not shine there. Na tatra surya bhati. Nor does the moon or stars. Na bhati chandra, na bhati tarakam. Chandra is moon, tarakam is the stars. Nor does lightning shine. Nime vidyut. So vidyut is lightning or electricity. How then can fire burn? Kuto ayam agni bhati. When he shines, tam eva bhantam. All these shine. Anubhati sarvam. Through his light, tasya bhasha, sarvam idam vibhati. All things shine. Okay. Bhaktivinoda Tagore, neither the sun, moon, or fire can illuminate that immutable abode of mine. After reaching my abode, the jiva is never again cheated of eternal bliss. In reality, the living entity is neither bound to material existence, but either, or liberated from it, mukta. Due to falsely identifying the body with the self, the jiva is in his bound state, in his bound state, desires to associate with matter. The jiva in the liberated state always tastes the nectar of blissful service to me. To attain this state, it is imperative for one who is situated within this world to cut the Ashwatha tree of material world with the weapon of detachment, asanga. Attachment to mundane objects is called sanga. Those who can give up that attachment, even while situated within this mundane sphere, are by nature nirguna, beyond the modes of nature, and only they achieve devotion that is beyond the modes of nature, that is nirguna bhakti. Taking the company of saintly persons is also called a sangha. By taking the company of saints, you become detached from this world. So that's what asanga sastrena, that's how it is. Therefore, a bound jiva in this material world should give up his attachment to mundane objects and, with the help of saintly persons, cut his bondage to the material world at the very root. One may pretend to practice detachment by accepting the dress of a sannyasi, but this will not actually cut one's mundane entanglement. When the jiva adopts my supremely blissful bhakti and relinquishes all desires, please mark, he has to accept bhakti and relinquish all desires and which have no connection with me, he attains mukti. In other words, the dissolution of his bondage to the material world is a mere secondary result of his endeavor. Therefore, the bhakti I have described in chapter 12 is the ultimate goal of the jivas who desire eternal auspiciousness. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is directly connecting to 12th chapter. I know, I hope you are able to get how the 12th and 13th chapter was connected conceptually, I mentioned. So, ultimately, the bhakti which I have described in chapter 12 is the Ananya Bhakti. That is, you know, eternally auspicious for the jivas. So, that's what he says. Okay, now how the transmigration happens. Krishna will speak about it from verses 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that we will see in the next class. So I will stop here. Any questions, any clarifications you have? Shri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Asanga means like Uttam Adhikaris, or who is it? Who is it referring to?
Uh, in a generic sense, anyone who at heart is attached to Krishna,
Okay.
and by his association, we are also inspired to become more and more attached to Krishna.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. So we can have their association. We don't need to relinquish that attachment.
No, that attachment is favorable. In fact, let me ask you a question. If you had a choice that you can associate with Krishna or associate with his pure devotee who has love for Krishna, whom would you associate with?
Krishna.
You are wrong.
It's my choice, no, Prabhu.
Even if it is your choice, you're still wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says,
Yeah. You
even
told
if
in
you
Madhurya
associate
Kanandi,
with
Prabhu, but
Krishna,
still.
even
Huh.
if you associate with Krishna, there is no guarantee that you will get Krishna Prem. But
Hmm.
if you associate with a pure devotee who has deep attachment for Krishna, you will develop Krishna, attachment to Krishna. By associating with Krishna, there is no guarantee you'll develop attachment for Krishna. So many of them saw Krishna was present. Hardly few in their fingertips you can count
Hmm.
knew Krishna as Supreme Person. Bhishma, the
Hmm.
Pandavas, only few rare souls knew. Otherwise, everyone
Hmm.
wanted to, attack Krishna. So there are so many demons. You
Hmm.
know, Actually, it is
Hmm.
mentioned that Krishna actually annihilated 100 Akshoni Sena in his entire, lifetime. Jarasandh had got so many times, so many Akshoni Sena. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was 18 Akshoni Senas which were destroyed. So,
Hmm.
like that, hundreds and hundreds of Akshoni Sena of demons, you
Hmm.
know, they were all opposing him. So, there's no guarantee. Hmm?
But everyone were liberated, no, Prabhu. There is one verse that says, Tattaiva Chanya Naraloka Virya, Ya Have Krishna, Mukaravindam. Whoever saw him were all liberated, no, in
Of
Bhagavatam.
course, we'll have to understand that verse very carefully.
Okay.
And this is not the forum when we study the Bhagavatam,
Okay.
what exactly that verse means. And, we'll have to study the Acharya's commentaries, then it will become more clear. And also, when we study Prabhupada's commentary, it will still become more clear to us.
Okay, Prabhu.
A superficial understanding will not help.
Okay.
So, again, a question. Who are more dangerous? Women or men attached to women?
I don't know, Prabhu.
Okay, men attached to women.
Hmm.
Because you don't know their attachment, and if you associate with men who are attached to women, you will also become attached to women.
Okay.
Similarly, whom we should associate with? Krishna or his pure devotees who have love for Krishna? It is his pure devotees. Because by associating with them, we will develop attachment to Krishna for sure. There is no doubt.
Okay.
Like that.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Any other questions anyone else has? Okay, so we will stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.